Welcome to the Church Answers podcast. My name is Tom Rayner. I'm always glad to be here to interact with you in this digital opportunity where we have to share with one another what's going on in church world. And so at this particular time, we're going to be asking a question. How do you apologize? It's not a very popular topic, but how to apologize? We want to get into that because there's going to be something sometimes where you said something that you should not have said, done something that you should not have done, and an apology is necessary. Before we get into that, let's always thank Belay. Belay is our inaugural sponsor. What does Belay do? They provide workers for you, contract workers like bookkeepers, like executive assistants and others. You can go to belaysolutions.com to see all the different type of positions that they provide. And if you've listened to any of these podcasts, we're all the way to number 13 today. If you've listened to any of them or watched it on YouTube, you know that we're a fan of Belay. You know that we love how they help take those tasks off of leaders where leaders can do what they need to be doing and where you can delegate more effectively because you have an assistant there or a bookkeeper, whatever type of position you bring from Belay. And Belay takes care of everything for you. They take care of the hiring. They take care of all of the pay work, compensation work. They take care of all of it for you. And even in those rare occasions, if something's not working out, they take care of that for you as well. So Belay Solutions, hey, get their book, Delegate to Elevate. Get it. I'm serious. Do it right now. Well, you can wait till the podcast is over. You can click on the show notes, or you can just download it at belaysolutions.com/Tom Rayner. belaysolutions.com/Tom Rayner. If you haven't gotten it yet, do so. Okay. The question could be, how do I apologize? We actually put the podcast in an affirmative way, how to apologize. And why is this important? It is important for all leaders. Well, it's important for all people to apologize. It is important for everyone to be willing to say, I made a mistake. Will you forgive me? It is up to everyone to be willing to say that. It's biblical, it's relational, and it is a leadership trait that is very positive. Quite frankly, I hope you don't have to apologize often because that means that you're not making these types of mistakes. So we're going to talk about how do you apologize. Okay, the first thing that we want to note here is that everyone will make a mistake. I could spend the entirety of podcast history from this point forward telling you all the mistakes I've made in ministry, life, as a husband, as a father, as a grandfather, as leader of Church Answers, and then other organizations and churches as pastor. I could go into all of these things. It reminds me of the time I told my wife, Nellie Jo, that I was thinking about writing a book about mistakes I've made in ministry. She just simply said, without even cracking a smile, that would have to be a multi-volume series. She's right. I've made tons of mistakes. I'll give you one example. This was when I was a pastor, so it was some time ago. Not to suggest I haven't made a lot of mistakes since then, but this one was clear because it was a public setting. We were in a business meeting. I wasn't fond of them the way we did them anyway. And we had to vote on a lot of things, and we had to vote on some equipment and furniture that we were getting. So there was just all this kind of debate going on about it. And I finally stood up and said, folks, are we just going to continue to debate this, or are you going to just trust me to make the right decision? And it just shut off debate. It was terrible. I mean, I turned from a pastor to an autocrat. It wasn't just my words, but it was my attitude as well. And it was done in a public setting. And so it didn't take me long, especially after I was confronted about it. Not too long after that. It didn't take me long before I knew I had to apologize. So I went into that same setting and I apologized. Now that brings up a point. When should you offer a public apology? Well, it depends on where you made the mistake and the degree of the mistake. If you made a mistake by misquoting something in a sermon, you don't need to go back the next Sunday and apologize for it. I mean, well, you might just say, hey, let me tell you where I made a mistake. And leave it at that. But that's not begging for forgiveness. It's just an honest mistake that you made. But when you need to apologize publicly is when you have offended publicly. That's one of the cases. Or when the offense is so great that it affects many people within the church. Okay, so we're talking about church apologies at this point. So that is one of the times that you have to do so. When I made this autocratic type of comment, I went back to the same group when we had our next meeting, and I'd already told people one-on-one that I was wrong, but I said I wanted to apologize, and I did. And of course, the church was gracious. They accepted my apology. They were, quite frankly, glad that not that I said something stupid, but once I said something stupid, that I was willing to own up to it and to ask for forgiveness. So the first thing that you need to understand is everyone makes mistakes. Not every mistake will call for an apology. I don't have to give you the guidelines because you really know when you have truly offended someone if there is an apology necessary, or if you've said something that is so out of line that you need to let the people know that you were out of line. And my rule of thumb, while there can be exceptions, is where you make the mistake is where you apologize, unless you've made a mistake that so affects, in the example of the church, the body of Christ, that it has had reverberation throughout the church. And in that case, again, a full public apology is needed. Now, let me share with you what I would strongly encourage you not to do. Okay? We've given you some positives on what to do if you are apologizing, but here is what not to do. What not to do is to start off with this subjunctive, if I offended someone. That is the most unapologetic apology that you will hear. I see that in the media all the time, especially when someone gets caught saying something, doing something, they say, I need to apologize if I offended someone. Duh. The reason that you're apologizing is because you offended someone. It's not if, it's not subjunctive. You have offended someone. And it's not just someone. Just say, I apologize. Why do you have to go through the trouble of saying, oh, there may be a few people that I messed up here? No, that is being defensive. And saying if I means there's a possibility that you didn't. That is a non-apology apology. And I don't recall anyone apologizing to me that way for something that went wrong. But, if they came to me and said, if I offended someone like you, Tom, I'd say, wait a minute, let's don't talk about the if. Let's talk about, yes, you did offend. And that's where it has been with me. I have offended people, and therefore I have to say, I made a mistake. I was wrong. I am sorry. Do you forgive me? So when you apologize without equivocation. When you apologize, make sure you cover the offense in such a way that the people know why you're apologizing. And when you apologize, don't make it as if it's possible you didn't, or selective that some people weren't offended. Apologize. Just do that. And you will find out that most of the time people will be gracious. Not all the time in this world of social media, but most of the time people will be gracious and they will accept your apology. How do you apologize? You apologize by saying you blew it. You do it in the context where you made the mistake, unless you affected a larger body, and you do so with sincerity and not selectivity. That's how you apologize. Once again, thank you for being a part of this brief podcast, just 10 to 12 minutes every time. We offer 3 a week, and by the time you've gotten this one, you can see two other new ones that have come up. Listen to them with your staff, listen to them with your leadership team, in any setting you want to. Listen to 1, listen to 2, listen to 3, or if you're watching on YouTube, watch it as well. Give us a like, give us a rating, a review. If you're on YouTube, we appreciate you subscribing to us as well. Thank you as well to Belay. Again and again, we'll say how grateful we are that they are providing you this podcast. The inaugural sponsor of Church Answers is Belay, and as I have indicated, we love them and we trust them and we continue to use them. Get their download. Delegate to Elevate, incredible ebook that needs to be in the hands of many people in your church or your business, or you can just click on the link in our show notes, or you can go to belaysolutions.com/Tom Rainer, THOM Rainer, belaysolutions.com/Tom Rainer. We'll continue through a series of episodes this week. And next time, which is already available for you, we're going to answer a question that generated a lot of conversation at Church Answers. Should someone who is not a church member be allowed to lead a ministry in your church? We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks, as always, for being a part of the Church Answers podcast. Hey, folks, this is a PS to our podcast. We got some exciting stuff that we want to offer you absolutely for free. Sam, when you think about predictive factors in a church's growth, if you take out demographics, what are some things that come to mind? Just two. I mean, don't give me a list of 10. Just 2 or 3 things that come to mind on predictive growth of a church.
Well, evangelism and whether the church is doing it or not.
Bingo.
And then I will add, is it an ongoing evangelism emphasis?
Double bingo. Well. And maybe something about leadership and their commitment to that. So all of the above.
Evangelistic churches have evangelistic pastors. Is the staff, is the lead pastor doing the work themselves?
We have a free download for you, and it's actually a sheet that you can self-score. You answer 20 questions, anywhere from strongly disagree to strongly agree, and we come back and we predict what your growth rate is going to be for the next year in worship attendance. It's not a perfect tool, but it's a good tool. There's a link to that for the attendance predictor. Look in the show notes. You'll absolutely love it. That's cool. We'll see you soon.